Hi, everyone, and warm welcome to part two of our webinar series, Digital Transformation 101 for Growing Businesses, Lessons from the C-Suite. This series is sponsored by Microsoft. Today, we'll be learning about how organizations can adopt successful digital transformation, and we'll be hearing it straight from the experts. And who better to share their insights on the subject than Lars Jepsen and Wasantha Werakune, co-founders of TechOne, a regional solutions integrator, Microsoft Gold partner, and leading enterprise content management company, which developed Anadoc. Now let's get started. Hi, Lars. Hi, Wasantha. How are we doing today?
Hello,
Hi,
good afternoon. Yeah, hello, good afternoon, Ara. Doing fine?
Tara, good afternoon. We are doing fine. It's a bit rainy weather over here, but I don't know how is it in Philippines. We are joining from different places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm dry
So
and safe here for now. So
yeah, the weather here is not that great as well, but glad we're doing okay. Now, I'm so sorry. Hope you don't mind. Let's jump right to it because we have a lot of ground to cover. Now, there's a lot of talk about the need for small and mid-sized businesses to undertake digital transformation. It's pretty much become a buzzword at this point. So allow me to start off by asking, why is it really important to talk about digital transformation?
okay, maybe Vasanta, maybe I'll start out by giving my view on that. Yeah, we prepared a few slides, so we have some visuals as well to guide us. In a recent study by Harvard Business Review, they found that 70% of a number one priority for executives, CEOs, senior executives this year is not only digital transformation, but the risk of digital transformation failing. Um, uh, Digital transformation was high on the agenda like last year and the year before, but now it's becoming a matter of very, very high importance that these projects are successful. It's pretty high on the agenda for organizations across the board, and I think now also smaller organizations like our company, for example, with a few hundred employees, start to look at what can they do to benefit from new technology. Just a heads up here, I mentioned it here, there's two words being used, DX and DT. So if you search later on and want to find some resources, digital transformation can be found under both DX and DT. One of the drivers is what you have seen in businesses the last few years. Probably some of the businesses you have seen, in the news are very large organizations, but we all have the experience as users to use services like Uber and Lyft and other companies. But in reality, what happened is that there was already, existing transportation options, right? We have tuk-tuks, we have tricycles, we have buses, we have jeepneys, and we had taxis. But the fact is that those organizations did not approach the technology that was available and transform themselves, which allowed companies like Uber and Lyft and Grab and Gojek and many other companies to basically start out of nowhere with a very limited resources, with very limited size in a small area, and grow into a world dominating forces. Imagine the capacity of a company who's running the taxi service in a large urban area in Asia. Imagine the capacity that they would have had to transform and deliver this kind of service, but they never saw the requirement. So today businesses, they really have opened up their eyes for this transformation across many industries. If you look, for example, as you saw the picture of Vasanta and me earlier. So those of you who don't know us know that we already past a few decades of experience. But if you look at how we used to rent videos. I mean, some of you might not even have seen a VHS cassette, but if you look how the media has gone digital or gone bust, basically companies like Netflix and Blockbuster, well, they were doing the same thing. They were renting out videos or DVDs, and Netflix they decided almost. From one day to the other to get out of that business and fully invest themselves in digital. And Blockbuster decided not to do that and maybe enabled a few digital services, but they never went into the to the streaming business, and today they are out of business. And for many organizations you find around you, that has really been the trend. The technology is moving at an exponential rate. You see technology moving at a much higher rate than adaptation is doing. My next slide will give you a bit of insight on that, and you can see technology curve. Every day we read in the newspaper or in the news, maybe if you don't have a newspaper anymore, even about the new technology available, and as individuals, we are fast to adapt that. So technology is driven by innovation, and individuals follow that very fast. So when there's a new app to order food, for example, people jump on that. So the businesses that are following that are much likely to be disrupted than the companies who are leading that. And if you look at those companies we put here, those are, you can imagine a pizza restaurant or fast food restaurant, a local fast food restaurant that you might have in your city, who have not enabled Uber food or Grab food or Food Panda or these services. I mean, they will most probably be out of business if they don't embrace digital. So the main reason being that digital really enable that better customer experience. The customers are attracted to that. So I think from my point of view, that's the main driver. And the reason is that everybody is mobile today. Everybody has a mobile device. Everybody is connected. If you see this is basically a picture of your environment, right? Yourself, your employee, your CEO, your business owners, your client, and your citizens. So maybe that was a long intro. I should let Vasanta also say something since we are both here. But I think that will be my starting point in replying to that question.
Thank you, Lars. I can't agree with you more on what you said. In my opinion, all businesses need digital transformation today. So, but in the context of what we've been talking about, small to medium businesses, they can utilize digital tools to, I call it improve instead of increase, because that is to get better results without investing more. So, and to get return, a better customer satisfaction, better profits, and agility on business continuity. I think you will see this when we talk a little bit more on this. And talking about the picture, this is how I see when I go back to our office. This is what I see every day in our lunch area too. When we move out, everybody is looking at the phone, and in fact, that's how we also empowered our employees with some of the tools. We will talk about it a little bit later, but at this context, I can't agree with you more on what you said, Lars. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that, Lars and Vasanta. Now, in the previous slide, I actually saw digital transformation enables companies to deliver better customer experience, right? And I think all companies, that is very important. Now, unfortunately, the term digital transformation still gives off the impression to SMBs of complexity and cost. Now, what would you say are the typical barriers for change, and why do SMBs see this transformation as hard or not a priority?
Actually, I think this is you're dead on your observation, but I think this is a complete misunderstanding. But this is correct. This is the perception that people have. First of all, to quote our CMO, the playing field has been leveled. Everybody can get access to the same tools at more or less the same cost. I think, at the end of this webinar, we are going to introduce some astonishing offers in terms of what really people can have to spend to get on Microsoft Office and Teams, and that enable your digital transformation. Things like our own InnerDoc allows people to scan and keep their documents safe in the cloud for less than $100 per month. So you don't need to be an enterprise to benefit from that. I think that the opportunity for SMBs, SMBs meaning even the smallest companies to the very large companies in this sector, the opportunity is much bigger, because the main issue in digital transformation is cultural change. I mean, everybody can go out with and buy something. I mean, probably while we're on this call, some of you might even start to look at Microsoft website and see how can I buy, and you will download something and maybe buy some clients to try. Everybody can do this. This is not the challenge. The challenge is to get people in the organization to get on the wagon, to get them to embrace the technology, because that's the time that you drive the main change. And it's much easier to change a company with 200 people than a company with 2,000 people. So I think the perception is that it's difficult. It's not difficult. The perception is it is expensive. It is not expensive. And the perception is that only very big companies should do it, and that is completely wrong. Anybody can do it, and most of this stuff is almost do-it-yourself kind of thing as well.
Yes, if I wanted to add a little bit on this last, as humans, we respond to change with the past generations' experiences. So whether it is like how you respond to a snake in your garden or adapting new technology, I think it is very similar. So whatever we have learned from our parents or in the past, or what you have seen in the industry. So if I think if you go back to your previous slide where it shows that technology disruption, I think that tells the story why people are a bit scared. In the historically, these things all align: technology and people and businesses and public policy in 70s. But you can see now it is completely, the technology has moved so fast, but our thoughts and belief systems have not changed. So what we need is the change, and the ones who embrace this change are the ones who's going to improve without the limits, without having limits. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I want to add a bit here. I think that our company is, we are a technology company, and we are a Microsoft partner, right? But like any other company, we are a business with we have 8 companies across the region, and we have between 500 and 700 employees, depending on projects. So we are in you could say the sweet spot of a SMB organization. But most of our offices count less than 50, 60 people, except for the ones that has a very large BPO unit or things like this. But the way that we have embraced technology is really from the top down. I mean, a top down approach in this sense, meaning that around 1 year back, we banned internal use of WhatsApp and Viber and Messenger for intercompany communication. So if I am going for a meeting, for example, I will meet Vasanta at the office, pick him up, and go somewhere else. I even use Teams to give him that message, saying I'm close by, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'm not having some conversations inside the corporate network and then some other conversations outside. Of course, if I'm chatting to my wife, it'll be on a different platform. But as long as we talk together with somebody inside the company, we use that platform, even for more casual communication. And that has been instrumental in driving the change. Some people will still send me a WhatsApp message. I will just copy that message and paste it in Teams and reply to them in Teams to kind of drive the point. But very often what happens is that I'm sure a lot of you who are sitting and listening to this are involved in this process every day, and you might be technology people, you might be the CIO or IT manager or somebody who is interested in or leading technology in your company, but you can do a lot of things, but but you need to get the buy-in from the top management. They're the one who need to drive this change. Then only it will happen. And it's not going to be so difficult, but they need to be the one who buy in.
Okay, that's really great that you guys clarified that. So really it has to come from the decision makers of the company, right? It starts there, right? And
Yes.
You both mentioned change. So for companies, for SMBs that, they're looking to really start the change or transition into digital transformation, how do you think they can start? How can they make it an easy journey, or rather make it bite-sized?
Yeah, I think, we normally use the term low-hanging fruits, but since we are in Asia, we have a lot of fruit that even falls on the ground, so you can just pick it up and consume it. There are things out there which is quite straightforward to start getting done. And I mentioned earlier the collaboration, for example, internally. I make sure that all of your employees have access to these tools. Once they have access to the tools, then you will start to see the transformation. So the easier way to adapt is, first of all, you have to make sure everybody's on board. It's not us and them kind of thing. It's not a group of people in the office have access to stuff and then everybody else have a different way of communicating, because then you need to communicate with the rest of the company using those third-party applications. So in our company, we have given everybody from the janitor to the security guy to the drivers to the CEO access to the same platform. We all have Microsoft Office and Teams, and that allows us to work effectively together. You might have something to say about the next slide, Vasanta.
Yes. So the digital transformation platform, I would talk first one or two examples of what we have done, and then I'll try to relate to this. As Lars very well mentioned, that we drive across digital transformation. We are trying to find areas which cut across the whole organization, because it's a cultural change that requires first to transform your organization. So one of the things that we have implemented is our digital HR solution, which is fully mobile-based solution where employees can engage with the organization through the mobile for their leave for their attendance to everything else in their career. And then we do have a lunch bot, which we have introduced, where people using in some of the places where we provide lunch will be marking what type of food that would like to eat. So where we give the choice to employees to see what they would like to have for tomorrow's lunch, probably, right? So these two tools has given us a lot of insights. And if you look at the three pillars that which is on the screen, these are not actually in the specific order. These are the three pillars that stands the organization stability and the future and doing well-being. And as I said in the very beginning, to improve without increasing. That means to create more without investing more. So if you look at some of the projects that we have done, satisfaction, if you look at the customer satisfaction, we look at everyone who works internally and externally is a customer for us as an organization. So our employee satisfaction is a very important thing for us, just like our company, as our customers as well. So in this, we have improved their satisfaction, customer satisfaction, by enabling them to be able to be receive agile responses to their needs. And on the other hand, we also managed to reduce cost in most of these, in all the two projects what I talked about, where we have reduced a significant amount of food wastage because we know exactly what is the consumption for next day to the type of food what people prefer. And also it gives us insight into the future, how healthy is our organization in terms of the consumption to various other factors. I can go on, but I would say that these three pillars are the foundation what we are using to transform our organization. Probably you can add more, Lars, on that.
Yeah, I think these are a good guideline for people to get started, and this is really the three areas that you look at. If you look at the next slide, you can see more of a process, which is the stages of digital transformation that we are using, also that we are using together with our clients. Is that first you fix the past, so that's a digitization part. So basically, when you say fix the past, it means if you look at your organization yesterday, or if you are not yet started the process today, are you depending on paper, for example, for many business processes? Are you filling forms using papers, and how can that process be digitized, meaning that you transfer those documents, you scan them. It's a simple thing. A lot of people think that there's only one solution, that is to make photocopies of the paper and put the documents in a remote storage. You can actually scan them and use that. We have a solution for that, and even if we have a service, you don't have to buy anything. Everything that you want to do here could be a service. But it also means digitizing is also about, for example, email, that you move to a modern email solution, that you give everybody a proper email address, not, Lars@yahoo.com, but Lars@check1global.com, and things like this. It gives you more control, more management, and better compliance. And also it gives a better image to external stakeholders, clients, suppliers, and also gives a certain pride for the employee that they work for that company. Especially junior employees and new employees will feel that they are really working for a real company. And I think a lot of SMBs I've seen are falling in that trap, that they will use a Gmail or Yahoo or things like this, and it's difficult to manage. It's not difficult; it's impossible to manage because the owners of those email addresses are the individuals, and when they move on, it's difficult to manage what they send out, and data privacy is a big issue as well. So once you get the past fixed, you can move into the present, which is the digitalization, where we talk about collaboration, moving away from sending files via email to sharing them in online platforms like Teams, and then collaborating. Having calls like this is a part of that solution, that you can actually have a call with all your stakeholders. We have a monthly call for all employees where we talk about the business and the strategy, and employees can ask questions. But we have, most of our meetings are Teams meetings today. That means if a party is not able to join the meeting in person, they can always join digitally. And then that will lead you to a platform where you basically can start to disrupt your company, your business, and change the direction of the company for the future.
Lars, I love Teams. I think
Well, we are
Teams has
sponsored by
given us.
Microsoft today, but to say we love Teams, I mean, we have a I love cloud. Maybe you should make an I love Teams logo as well. Yeah, I mean, you're right. In fact, maybe you wanted to say it, but I can also say it. Even some of our new solutions that we are bringing out, since this is a very private conversation, only with a few hundred people listening in, and please don't share this outside. It's top secret right now, but we are working on a new product. It's called Flodo, and it's a workflow business process automation product. So it basically helps you to manage all your processes in the company. But the cool thing is that it integrates with Microsoft platform as well. So you don't have to download another app to approve of a request. If a user have filled a request form and you get that onto to your table because you are the approver, you simply get a notification in Teams, and all the compliance stuff is taken care of by SharePoint.
Lars, you're leaving out too much internal information
here.
Yeah,
But I can't help it. I'm so excited, Santa, that that I think we should talk a bit about it. Okay, maybe it's time for Ara to break in.
Yeah.
PR department is putting
I think we should leave
okay,
some
let's move
secrets and
on.
some surprises to the audience. Yeah. So aside from maximizing Teams, which we all love, well, we already said that we all love Teams, and The lunch bot that Wasantha has mentioned as well, I think that really piqued the audience's interest. Now, aside from these two, like what other technologies have you implemented in Tech One that was able to help the organization transform digitally?
Vasanta, you want to cover that?
I'm sure that this is your baby. The lunch bot was your idea.
No, I think that's just one thing. I mean, being a technology company, of course, has that benefit. I'm sure if you are a company that do construction and building, you also have an awesome office. So, of course, being a technology company, we do have those kind of solutions. But
I think we eat our own dog food. I think that's
I
the
think
first thing.
That's the fact is that so if you go back and talk about how do you improve the experience for employees and clients. It's all about being available, delivering the solution at the right time. And if somebody sends the company a message at 7 o'clock in the evening, it most of the time can be responded to by an auto response chatbot. And so we have developed some of that. We use that on our Facebook page as well and our website. But internally, I think Vasanta already covered quite a bit about it earlier, the lunch bot that we use. And each country have different, in Philippines, we have a smaller office, so we don't have a canteen, but we serve rice every day, and we serve brown rice or white rice. So basically it's a rice bot in Philippines, but it's a full-blown, meal bot in Sri Lanka, because we have quite a big set of people there. But this is just one of the things also that can help you to drive the adaptation of technologies. That if people have to go to Teams to order their food, they will go to Teams, right? And then they will use Teams for other stuff as well. But the other things we have done is that we have also implemented HR solution across the company. We work with a company called MicroImage, and the solution is called MyHCM. And again, we are eating our own dog food, so we are selling this solution across the region together with MicroImage, but we also use it ourselves. That means that employees can check in and check out. They can request for leave, or they can file for leave, and a lot of the processes, the kind of the business process in HR has been automated there. And the future of that is to put full KPIs and everything there. But today we have on our fingertip all the stats about how many employees we have, where they're located, what is their educational background, what is their attendance, what is their KPIs, what is their job descriptions, and things like this. And it helps us to engage better across the organization and build the company. So those, I think, are two milestones. And we use.
I think we should talk a little bit about our travel challenges, what we had, travel workflow, and also now the collections and all the other areas where we have automated using tools. Do you want to talk about it, or could I talk about it?
Why don't you talk about it? Because I think you have a good view.
Yeah, so one of the big challenges that we used to have in our organization was probably it's very common to most of the people who are listening in today, when we have to invoice one of our customers and to deliver certain things, and to collect money and deposit all those checks, because we are not fully digitally transformed as a country or as an organization yet. So we have to manually deal with some of the things. We had a big challenge. So what we did a full process automation for invoicing and collections and delivery of material using an app, of course, what Lars was talking before, fully integrated with our Teams and SharePoint platform, and the front end is a workflow. So that has helped us to reduce the number of hours that used to take for delivering things to customers, as well as it has improved radically the time it takes to collect a check and deposit and inform back the finance. So I think that's something I would say still fall onto the digitalization pillar, not to the digital transformation pillar yet, which which
Yeah,
yeah.
another part of that is the travel workflow that you mentioned, right? That
Yes.
so we have one person internally who is managing our travel, so a travel manager. So that means that even if you are going now, I will challenge the people in Philippines maybe on their geography, but let's say you are going from Colombo to Mali, which is just like going a very short flight. Even that travel is organized by our travel managers who is based in Philippines. The traveler fill a form, it goes through an approval process, and the travel is project is completed, and all the documents, travel advisory, the ticket, and the hotel booking is then sent back, and the documents are backed up in our InnoDoc solution. But that allows us that to manage our travel process better. So there's lots and lots of things that can be done.
Sorry to disturb. Has it decreased the cost, or has it increased the efficiency, or both?
I think in terms of cost, I think what is cost, right? Were we able to get better deals on travel? Not really, because we are based in many countries and we cannot work with one airline or one travel agent. But for some organization, that would be the thing. But the hidden cost that everybody is doing their own travel management, that everybody is becoming, a travel agent looking for cheap flights online and booking hotels, and then in the end they get caught up in some tickets that cannot be refunded or that is expensive to change. So I think it's difficult to measure the cost, but it's an interesting question. We're talking about still the product that is going to be released shortly, but one of the concepts we are working on is the way that our clients will pay for the product, not anymore by paying upfront a license fee, but by paying per executed workflow. So if you don't execute a workflow, you don't pay.
Outcome based.
Completely outcome based. So if it's like you don't pay for the water until you open the tap, right? Or electricity, the same thing. But if you want to look for your your car, you have to pay every month, whether you're using it or not. You have paid for the car. But we want to move into the consumption-based, outcome-based billing, which will enable us to even go to more broader sense of more broader customers. So it's no matter a matter of can I afford that or not, because you're not going to pay anything if you didn't save any money. So I think that's a cool way of thinking about the future. But let's see how our clients will accept that. And maybe if somebody have any comments on that, please feel free to add it in our comment section or any questions, because this is still an area that we are a bit confused about, in sense that what is the market thinking, what is our client thinking about that. Maybe you should let Ara ask some more questions so we don't get out of control.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, since we were talking about the market anyway, and since you two are really experts in the industry, like what trends do you see now in technology adoptions for SMBs?
Okay, so if I put my 2 cents on this, I think SMBs, as we discuss, can afford now to go and test digitalization technologies at a minimal or low cost and adapt and transform themselves. But to fully digitally transform any organization, either already digitalized organization or organization which is already adapted a significant amount of technology, I think that the full digital transformation will happen when you become an API company. When I say API company, what does it mean? It means that you need to digitize your boundary. For an example, if we create an invoice to a customer, the invoice should be digital and you should reach it digitally, and your customer should be able to pay digitally. So there is no physical boundary of printing an invoice, carrying the invoice and handing it over. Similarly, so I think this is an area that every organization should be working towards. And that is where the real digital transformation and the benefits of digital transformation will be achieved. We call it boundary digitization. And you want to add anything, Lars, on that?
Yeah, I mean, Ara, if you can go back to slide number 4. I think slide number 4, yes. Yeah, here. So this is, what Prasanta is saying. If I look at my home country, I'm from Denmark. That is normal. It's normal that you don't collect checks. In fact, nobody uses checks, right? It's normal that you do paperless payments, and it's normal that you have connection between the bank and the telco and everybody else. So those are normal. But what we are facing here in our region, when I said our region, we are talking about, we have the listeners here are from Sri Lanka, from Philippines, from Bangladesh, and maybe Nepal as well. So I'm not sure if we have any other but basically the policymakers here are not encouraging or not helping us to transform fast enough, because there's still a lot of policy around uh, paper-based transactions, or how transactions should be done, that slows down the digital transformation and the disruption that will happen. And this is where you can see countries that took those more bold steps. They are leaping ahead of others. I don't want to give any examples, but you can see countries that have embraced technology over the past 10 to 15 to 20 years are far ahead today than other similar countries that they were basically competing with in those days. So that is there. You ask what is the next big thing, and I think things like we talked about, the chatbot, for example. So for any SMB who have a website or a Facebook page, you can easily today enable a chatbot to answer clients' questions when you are not around. That was not so much possible 2 years ago, and that's going to be even more and more improved in the next few years. I think you will see more and more of the so-called superbots providing some kind of a customized service. So you'll engage a Cortana, for example, or a Siri, or Alexa on your platform to help solve the problems for your clients, more than customized bots. So it will be more of a self-service kind of thing. You will continue to see the growth of the internet, and the ability to connect to anywhere. More and more people in Asia are facing challenges to commute. It's difficult to commute. The traffic is jam-packed, and many people take a couple of hours to go to work and come back. They want to work from home, and with the technology we have now, there's no technological barrier to allow anybody to work from home. But there's still a cultural change in the management and in the employee. In the management, the trust that the employee really works at home and doesn't do other stuff. So we have to move the management more to a result-based. It's not about the warm body, how many people you have in the office, but what are they actually doing? And if they're doing that, it doesn't matter where they are. And then, of course, individuals also have to understand when you are out of the office and you don't have a boss looking over your shoulder, that you have to work and be self-driven. So you'll see much and much more of that happening in the next few years. I think these are the short or midterm changes for the digital transformation that you will see.
Mm-hmm. And thank you very much for that, Lars. And I think it's great that our audience now has a clear idea of what they're looking at now and what they should be looking forward to in the future. Now, again, thank you so much for the informative talk, Lars and Vasant. I'm sure our viewers and listeners got a lot of valuable insights from that. Now we're opening the lines for questions from the audience. All right. Now, we got a couple of questions already coming in. Now, the first question that we have, what are the signs that a business is in need of digital transformation?
You want me to answer that? When you see yourself first day in the morning, in the mirror, that is the time. Everybody needs a digital transformation. I don't know what Lars wanted to say, but I would say that everybody has to digitally transform.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think that goes back to the first slide. I think enterprises, the big conglomerates, they are always facing big challenges to change, because more than anyone, they are scared of the smaller companies disrupting their business. If you want to enter into the financial markets, for example, in a country like the Philippines, where you have a few massive banks, there's a huge opportunity for somebody to come in and just turn everything upside down. And like it has been done in many other countries, if you are a telco or those kind of organizations are definitely going to be disrupted. But if you look at every industry, how people look at it, they say, we are not a bank, we are a technology company providing financial services. Or we are not a hotel, we are a technology company providing rooms. So if you start to look at yourself as a technology company, and then secondary look at what is the service that you're providing, then you will realize that it's now.
Okay. All right. So really no signs. Just like every day you think about it.
Yeah.
You need to start doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. The second question that we have: how should SMBs approach technology-based decisions or investments when starting a digital transformation effort?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the great things today, and I think we touched on it a little bit earlier, is that investment is not really, it is an investment, but it's not a capital expenditure, because most of the solutions we are talking about is an operational expense. That means you pay for what you use or what you buy, and as long as you need it, you pay for that, and when you don't need it anymore, you don't have to pay for it anymore. And when it comes to the cloud services, for example, they can even be elastic. So that means if you have a requirement for a high capacity during weekends or during month end, you don't have to have high capacity on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays or in the start of the month. You can basically expand the capacity you need when you need it, and then you contract it again. So for any organization growing as well, that's a great opportunity, because you just need to add on as you grow. You don't need to say, oh, we need to buy a new set of servers, and then after 6 months the business plan didn't turn out the way that you had expected, and now you have capacity that you don't know what to do with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Sandra, do you want to add your 2 cents to that?
I think we have more questions, right? So let's continue.
Yeah, let's.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Third question that we have: what are some common mistakes or pitfalls for SMBs approaching their own digital transformation?
So I will say in one word, it's culture. I know Lars can add more. I think one of the important facts that that we have been discussing actually over the past is it is easily accessible today. If not, it's very low cost, as what Lars was just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be even free. There are enough free tools to digitally transform your organization. But it is changing culturally to adapt. That is the biggest pitfall. I think, Lars, you can add. I know that you're very sound on this area, and which you talk a lot about.
No, I just think that if we go back and look at the slides that we presented, in the first part of the talk, I think it's obvious to everybody that this is an important topic.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is an important part of your business going forward, maybe it's a good idea to get a book or two and read them. Watch a few TED Talks, or enroll in some kind of a program. There are many programs on different universities online that you could join in to help you on this. But the shortest, most easiest would just be to go on Amazon after the call and get a book or two. And if you don't have time to wait for the shipping, you can just get them on your device, and you can read them even after dinner tonight, and maybe by tomorrow morning you are ready.
What are you reading now?
Research.
Yeah, so I got a book actually from one consultant at Gartner recently, and that's called Digital to the Core, Remastering Leadership for Your Industry, Your Enterprise, and Yourself. And I think this is a really good book But there are so many others out there that really can help you to open your eyes about this change.
Okay,
By the way,
so
we are not sponsors for that book, so
yeah, it's not
we don't
not
have
sponsored.
any. Maybe we should build an affiliate link, Amazon or something, so we can make a little money on that.
And just code Tech One, right?
Yeah.
No, that's really great. So research really to avoid mistakes, right, before jumping into the digital transformation journey. All right, so we have another question, our fourth and I guess last question. What are the issues you encounter when transferring to digital transformation?
I think the biggest challenge I think we have covered in the last 10 minutes is culture. And the biggest challenge in the culture is the employees in your organization who cannot transform, or who are not willing to transform, and becomes kind of the heavy, the one that slows down the wheel. The part of the organization. It could be cultural. It could be age thing. I'm not young myself, but I have been able to change. But I've been in technology for many years. But I hear from a lot of our clients when we talk to people in IT, and when we talk to consultants, that the main challenge is the leadership. People are too senior in their mindset, meaning not senior in terms of in the hierarchy, but in terms of their age. They think that they don't need this and other people should do it. But if the organization should benefit, then everybody has to be on it, and everybody has to be engaged.
So I think the culture. If I add a little bit, our previous webinar from with Jude and Akvash, we were talking about these different generations of people who are working today in the organization, and I think it's a good idea to go and have a look at what we did on that. I think there's a quite a deep analysis on that, how and why sometimes the adoption is also a challenge within an organization. So if you are conscious, so you'll be able to address that in a systematic way. Yep.
Yeah, and I just to add to actually your previous question, well, you can listen to these webinars. I think you have a few more coming up that can help you in this process. It's not just reading. You can also sit down and listen, and I'm sure you can also find even some podcasts available that you can listen to while you're traveling or driving or whatever you're doing.
Yes, that is correct. Now, thank you very much for that, Lars and Wasant. Now, unfortunately, that is all the time we have left, but thank you everyone for sending in your questions. However, don't go just yet, because we have great news. For a limited time, you can get Office 365 Business Essential for only $2.50 per user per month, Office 365 Business Premium for only $10 per user per month, and Enodoc for only $99 for one department. Now you can find out more about these promos by sending an email to aliana@techoneglobal.com. And that's it for this week. Now, if you missed some parts of this live webinar, don't worry, because it will be available on demand. We look forward to having you all in part 3 of our webinar series, Shaping the Future of Work, a sneak peek into Microsoft 365. It will be held on September 4th, Wednesday of next week. We will be joined by our very own tech advisor and Microsoft MVP, Akfash Ladibu, along with Sheikh Niaz, Territory Channel Manager of Microsoft Sri Lanka and Maldives, and Abdul Kadir Anas, Product Marketing Manager of Microsoft, handling Southeast Asia new markets. Be sure not to miss that. Now, again, thank you,
And
everybody.
I think, Ara, I know you're on your script here, but I think I might also join in on that. I think that's going to be an interesting one, and I love to talk about technology. So please loop me into that as well.
Yes, of course. Yeah, everyone
I'll
is welcome.
careful not to speak too much, though.
Lars, you're too demanding.
Everyone is welcome to join in. Yeah, more insights, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wins.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank you.
thank
you, everybody.
you very much,
Thank
Lars.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, everyone.
Wasanta. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, for
bye.
joining in.
Thanks.
Y'all
Thanks.
next week.
Bye.